Okay, bear with me here. While the other parts are drying over there, ooh, right there, I took another one of those boards and I chopped it up, and basically I just increased or decreased, I guess, the top of this by 2 thicknesses of the board. Let me show you. So I cut my triangle again with the 30 degrees, and then measured in and cut another one and another one. I made one that's 5 tall and 2 that are 4. And I'm thinking now I need to make something to mount them on, and some, what do you call those? The trunks, some tree trunks. And we'll make a little Christmassy forest and see how that looks. Again, these are all bastardized ideas from the interweb that everybody does this time of year to make a buck, and I don't know if they're worth a buck, but they're fun. Okay, so here's where we're at. I gave them a real quick, with my new to me sander, 120 grit sanding. I tapered the top edge of each one so that it'll kind of look like it goes, not much, like very little, but it'll look like it goes under a little, I hope. And I decided I'm going to stain those green, but I don't have enough of that green stain, but I have green paint I can water down. And then I made a base, and I just rough sanded the edge off of it to make it look more rustic. So that will be the base, and I will stain that with white, but white paint. And then I cut these will go in the back and so we'll stain those with wood stain. And then we'll put it all together and see what we got. But I need to go change because I have new pants on and I don't want my wife to kill me. So I'm going to go get scrubs on and get staining. What a treat. Let's watch Tom stain things. This is back to using up the old, what did it start as? Dark walnut stain that I combined with some other leftovers and came up with, I call it really dark walnut stain. But I think, again, this is just the kind of project for using up. This is some scrap cutoffs I had. Yeah, it was cedar too, that were up in the rafter here, and I didn't have to rip it, so I just grabbed what I had, and that now is a tree trunk. So leftover stain, leftover wood, we got a tree trunk. I think those fence boards were like $1, just under $1.90. It's like $1.89. I don't know. They were cheap. And today I think I used 3 of them. Some of it was experimenting though, and so that gave me the 3 we're working on now, the collage, if you will, of trees. It gave me 2 of those shelves, the one I stained green and the one I started with. So 3 solid projects for under $4. Look at me, I'm back to being my old self. Counting the pennies. But no, that's pretty good. I'll shut up now. I'll finish this and I'll bring you back some point when I'm paint staining, okay? All right, we're on to the base. Again, this is just a paint wash, not a stain, but not a paint job either. Which basically means that I can be as messy as I want. And I'm going to do the bottom so that it looks professional. I'm actually using, this is diluted Kills primer that I had left over. And it was just a little bit in a jar. And there's still a little bit more, so. Oh yeah, I like that. See, I want the wood grain to show through. All right. We're going to do each tree is in its turn, but that's what we're looking at. They're going to be a little darker on the end grain, and they're going to really show through on the fronts. And in the back, well, that's my practice area. Who cares? But I got a bunch of pieces to do here. I'll show you one more. As you can tell, this is very scientific. I put the water in the paint. I do the same thing with my carvings usually. And then I mix it to dilute it till I like where it sits on the brush. So it's kind of a go by feel thing. And you can't really go wrong. Even if you paint them solid green, they're going to look Christmassy like a tree, right? And if you go too thin, you just keep going until you're done. Add more. So this is pretty much foolproof, which is why this fool is doing it. Okay. See? I'll get the rest of the pieces done, and then it's time for a lunch break while we let everything dry. Woohoo! All right. Tack that bottom one on. We're making up our 3 Christmas trees. Put that on the drying rack. One more. I still haven't. That's the back side, so don't worry. Just a little dirty, a little dusty. So I have no idea how these are going to come out, but they're not bad. They don't look bad anyway. How opportune. If you see I where I beveled that little tiny bit, so if you run your fingers up, you can barely just cuts under. I'm hoping it gives the illusion of a tree. Okay, things are gonna dry now, and then I'll bring you back once again. Okay, I think if I want this to last, I'm gonna add a screw into each tree limb, if you will. I just think it'll keep it a little longer, and I'm just doing it by hand because I don't feel like switching bits out each time, and I don't feel like grabbing my other drill. How's that for lazy? I'd rather work hard so I can be lazy. But see, that's I'll touch it up with a little more stain. That's gonna keep it more solid when it gets banged around, if I put it out in front of the house on the porch or something. So we're gonna do that to each tree, and then we're gonna get it put together. All right, there we are. How simple was that? I ran a screw up underneath, whoop, into each one, pre-drilled them so they wouldn't totally blow out, and we got a little forest. One more idea, hang on. All right, we're lit up from the back, courtesy of dollar store battery operated LED lights. So I think that'll give you the idea. Again, not all original at all, my own little twists here and there, but these things are everywhere on the interweb. So I encourage you to go out and play with your saw.